Hi everyone, Vladimir is here, and today I wanted to do a quick review of the game called Assault on the Necrospire. Assault on the Necrospire is the dungeon traversing game where you need to traverse the dungeon to take down the evil necromancer. But first, two disclaimers. I got the key for free, and the game is work in progress, so some things ought to change. Despite that, I'll just try to keep being objective for this moment, and I'll just show what the game is at the current state and how I feel about it. So, as I told you, you control the mage that must go deep into the dungeon and kill the necromancer that has destroyed the wizard order. The game is an action RPG mix where the choice of items matter. You just traverse the levels and gather items and kill the enemies, like room-based. Like, think about Binding of Isaac. And the thing is, it has some similarity with bullet hell games, but it's also somewhat slower paced. I don't necessarily mean that it's a disadvantage, because the game is still intense and complex, and it just lets you to have more time for decision making, and also punishes you for the bad decisions. So I think it's a good game design. But it's just slower compared to Enter the Gungeon or Nuclear Throne, and if you like those games, this probably won't be something that you are looking for. I don't know. You only have one attack, which is modified by special items called spells, and those items can drastically change it by changing the attack pattern, or basically improving the damage, or just making it faster. And you also can add debuffs like bleeding or poisoning, or change the attack pattern completely. So, since the game has permadeath, you will often face a sequence of small gaming sessions. The good part about them is that you can set up the difficulty for yourself, and I don't simply mean setting up the difficulty, which simply affects the stats of the monsters. I think it's something deeper than that, because there are 15 difficulty modifiers like double bosses or no health picks or the enemies that explode, which affect the rate of which the loot drops to you and the difficulty itself. So I think it's a definitely good approach to the difficulty issue, not because the monster just grows stronger, but the game changes depending on those difficulty modifiers. So, to sum up, I want to say some pros and some cons. I think there are lots of items that alter the gameplay instead of just altering the stats, which opens the room for interesting combinations. The pixel art, as you can see, is quite good, and I think it's a good fit. You really feel like you're in the dungeon. The difficulty modifiers adjusting the gameplay, it feels like a very fresh thing. Even if we saw them in Bastion or in Transistor, I think they just make the game much more playable and much more repeatable. You'll definitely want to play it more with different modifiers. The environment is well polished. You can see those watery bubbles or just torches near the walls. I think it just fit great. The music is pleasant and not annoying, and the boss fights are pretty interesting. So the game has this going for it. To mention the cons, I think there's a very slow travel time. You cannot really teleport between the rooms, even the ones that you've visited already, and you will often have to revisit the old rooms. The room variety at this current moment is not that big. There are 80 room layouts, and after you play for a few hours, it will mean that you'll be seeing a lot of duplicates that you have already seen, but I think you encounter it in most dungeon games. And some of the rooms actually don't have much space for maneuvering, which results in inevitable loss of health. And that brings me to my next point. As with most of RNG-based games, sometimes the random just does not favor you. You might get bad rooms from the start, or just bad items drops and die fairly quickly, and there's nothing you can do about it. I also want to mention that there's just only simple basic attack at the start, and I kind of feel that it could use more variety or just more juiciness. I don't know, it just feels a bit bland sometimes. Maybe you need to improve the feeling or something like that. Maybe lesser the damage, but make faster firing speed, or just make this projectile glow somewhat, or I don't know. Overall, If you like the graphics and don't mind early access game, I just buy it right away. The developer is really friendly, and you can clearly see that the game was made with love, so there's a huge potential. Having said that, I think it's worth to wait until there are more clarity with content and with attacking mechanisms and with the enemies, with the slow traveling. I think the game at this state will definitely give you a good time for a few hours, but slow pace combined with simple basic attack hurts a little bit. So because of that, it feels that the game is punishing new players. So buy if you really like this type of games. Otherwise, add it to the wishlist and wait to see how it progresses and where it goes. I think that's it from my side. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more game reviews, check out my website, shortgamereviews.com, or join my Steam group called Wild Games, link below. Thank you for watching and keep playing. Vladimir is out. Cheers.